All right, guys, welcome to today's video. I got a lot of requests to make a dating in Thailand video about my experiences of dating, obviously the women here in Thailand where I have been living for the past 6 to 7 months. So I have a lot of data and a lot of experience to share with you here in this video. The topics I'm pretty much going to cover are going to be my long-term girlfriend. I did date a girl consistently for about 5 to 6 months before we recently broke up, and I am very upset about that actually. She was a great girl and I'll go into that. And then I also have dated several other girls shorter term, and I'm going to go through those experiences, both good and bad. And then I'm going to talk about where to meet girls around town, the best places to meet them, how to approach them, how the culture is a little bit different than in the United States where I come from. So again, my name is Kyle. If you are new here, I make content based around fitness, lifestyle, travel, motivation, and I'm also an actor and stuntman, so I document that journey as well. I don't really get into too much of the dating stuff, but I do have a lot of experience as a 40-year-old man who has traveled to over 30 countries, dated women from all these different countries and cultures and background, and also living in big cities in the United States such as Miami, Atlanta, Los Angeles, and then I grew up in North Carolina, and I've traveled across the United States. So I have a pretty good much experience, and if you know about Western culture, Western dating, it is very difficult to navigate. So I am trying to make this as simple as possible for myself to save myself time and hopefully you some time as well. So in this video, I'm gonna kind of go into very good detail, so you might want to watch the whole video, but I'm gonna try to cover these topics very specifically. I'm gonna cover, again, my long-term relationship, my Thai girlfriend that we just broke up. I am currently dating a new girl as of 2 weeks. We're still in the vetting process, but it is going very good so far. And then I'm going to talk about a few dating experiences that I had, both good and bad. And again, my breakup, and then also getting back in there about 2 months ago, doing more cold approaching, where to meet girls, the dating apps. Usually that's going to be on Bumble, and I'll cover that later, the main dating app. And then I also definitely utilize the Instagram funnel, and I'll explain that as well. I also have a video on how to use Instagram as a dating app, because honestly, that's the best thing for social proof and to get a girl interested and to not waste so much time and actually separate yourself from other guys, okay? Because it's all competition. So, and then I'm also going to go over like cultural stuff, because this information is not really out there, and why a lot of this dating advice that maybe these dating coaches give online is not going to necessarily apply to these other cultures like South America, more traditional cultures, and especially here in Thailand. Now, the regular rules do apply. Hypergamy is definitely something you need to understand. Women are going to be hypergamous no matter what, social status, and then also appearance, and why all that stuff really does matter. So again, I also have a unique knowledge about women because I also worked as a male stripper, and I was also an adult performer in the adult film industry, straight, of course. And so I understand women's and female nature more, maybe more on a deeper level because of my age and also my experiences and how I have navigated the dating market. So as you know, women in Western countries, more woke countries, they thrive on chaos, and you need to keep these women really guessing, and you have to be more toxic with them. Otherwise, they get bored and they will find another guy. They say they want a nice guy, but you never listen to what women say. You want to really be able to develop yourself and have yourself options. So if they don't think you have other options, they're just going to leave you. So you really need to operate from a place of self-improvement and abundance to keep women in, the West guessing and to keep them interested if you're still pursuing that route. But those nuances, really, some of those don't really apply here in Thailand. Now, some girls have been corrupted by Western society, and I'll go over that in the video. And before I continue on with the rest of the video, I don't want to forget to mention that you should not raw dog these girls. You need to be very responsible and use protection at all times, and you also should be getting tested regularly if you mess up and don't use protection, because just because these girls are very sweet and innocent and you think that they're not seeing other guys, they might tend to be promiscuous and sleeping around, and there's not exactly probably the best education here around STDs and safe sex as opposed to Western countries. So you need to do your due diligence and also be responsible and also get tested. I practice what I preach. I recently got a test, and these are my results from the other day. I have been tested a couple times. even though I practice safe sex or I only sleep with one girl at a time when I'm not using protection. So just to let you make you aware, I'm in some other expat forum groups, and these guys are all talking about how they're catching, STDs from just one night of sex and stuff like that. So it's going around Thailand, I'm sure, mainly probably just around Bangkok because it's a big single scene and party scene and stuff like that. So just realize that you need to be very careful and safe. All right, in this part of the video, I'm going to give my actual advice after living here for 7 months as to how I think you should approach dating the women here, the local women in Thailand, especially in Bangkok, as opposed to if you're just a foreigner passing through only for a couple months and you just want to do hookup type stuff, go out and stuff and find casual hookups. Because the women here, they're not all escorts. They're normal girls. They want a relationship, and they will question you. They know about the travelers, the passport bros passing through and just doing hookups. So you're gonna attract a different type of girl, and in my opinion, a better girl if you actually stay here for a longer period of time, and as opposed to just passing through and just trying to do casual hookups. So this is for that. Now, they do value traditional standards here pretty much, as opposed to what has been deemed as toxic masculinity in the West over the past few years for whatever reason. So being fit, in good shape, active, confident, clean, masculine, stoic, all that is going to go a very long way here in Thailand. Also these women, I've been told several times that they don't want to think. They don't want to make plans for a date. They want the man to take action and be the leader. They literally want to follow your lead. So with the exception of the very few times that I mentioned, that is how it is. I make the plans for the first date. If they don't follow and do what I say, then it's just not going to work out in most cases. Like I said, I am very direct in how I deal with the women here, and they will find that more attractive than indecisive man who's like, oh, what do you want to do? They don't want to be asked what to do. They want to be told what to do here. So they're very submissive, traditional, and female in nature. And that's pretty much how I will start this part of the video. And then we'll go into some different places to meet women and stuff like that. We're going to go over a few basic dates that I went on first. So first of all, I arrived in Thailand for a longer trip, 2023 through 2024, December through about February. And I actually met a girl on Bumble. And long story short, I flew her from Bangkok to Koh Samui to stay with me randomly. And I don't necessarily recommend doing that, but we kind of hit it off and we did FaceTime, and I vetted her, and I decided it was worth the $300 to invest in a flight. And it was. She arrived and we had a great 3 days on Koh Samui. And then after that, I was training Muay Thai for another 3 weeks alone. But yeah, I just hit it off with her for the 3 days, and she was actually just a normal chick, but extremely attractive, like curvaceous body, and we had a great time and all that stuff on Koh Samui for 3 days because she had to go back to work. She had a normal job. She's not a escort or freelancer or anything like that. And then I went back to Bangkok before I returned back to the United States, and it kind of just fell apart because she knew I was on dating apps and she saw me doing it. And also, Thai girls seem to like to sleep in and sleep a lot. And I wake up early, like at 6:37, and try to get going, like do a little workout or go to the sauna, go to the park and exercise a little bit and then start work. And they like to sleep in and stay in bed. And that kind of turned her off, I guess, when I was like, cuddling a little bit, and then we have sex, and then I get up and I leave, and she got a little bit upset, and she knew I was obviously going back to the US shortly after that. So we ended that there. I met another girl right before I went back to the US, and we hit it off, and we were talking for the last few days and all through when I was in the US and planning on coming back. And then when I came back to Bangkok in December, she kind of ignored me, but she actually popped up later, along a few months later, and I'll go over that later in the video. So I want to talk about how I met my long-term girlfriend. We just broke up. She broke up with me, and I'm very upset about that. Actually, she was a fantastic girl, and I just pretty much took her for granted, and we didn't have the best communication. Again, I'm kind of a blunt guy, and I also am an entrepreneur, so I have a lot of pressure and work all the time, and I have like 3 different income sources, so I'm trying to juggle stuff and constantly trying to make money online and help my clients and between social media content, working out, staying fit and all that. These girls are more simple-minded. They don't want a lot of thinking to be done, which is good. And she just didn't really communicate. They don't really tell you there's a problem. They're quiet, very submissive, very easygoing, very charming. But yeah, I pretty much took her for granted a little bit. I was on the dating apps and stuff, and I had my indiscretion, so to say, which I definitely regret. I don't condone if you're seeing a girl to cheat on her and stuff like that. Straight up, I made a mistake, and she found out. I didn't question it. I just said, I'm sorry. And we moved on. I wish you the best. But anyways, my relationship with her, let's get back on track. Let's get back on track. Was very good. So we met on Bumble. We had a great first date. She actually just came over to my Airbnb. We went to the pool and hung out. Good connection. She's very friendly, very, very easygoing, good physical touch and everything. We had dinner, and since then, this is within 2 weeks of me arriving in Bangkok, we were dating. We were pretty much dating after that. Even the next day, she came to an audition with me for a film, like a commercial audition. I had one, and I was like, hey, do you want to come hang out with me for the day? And we ride around and go to the audition, and then we say goodbye or whatever. And she's like, yeah. So she had a normal job. She was an HR person at one of the luxury hotels here in Bangkok. And so pretty much I kept her around for 6 months. I had another girl that I met within about the same time period, within 2 weeks, and she was great as well, but she didn't speak as good of English, and it was just trouble communicating. But I kind of saw them both at the same time, and then I just didn't have the heart to really keep both of them going, nor the time. And I chose the girl option that spoke better English, and I had more of a connection with. And yeah, ever since then, we saw each other up until recently. So a few other days, and again, my relationship with her basically was very easygoing. She was amazing. Like I rented finally found an apartment in Thong Lor, and she lived kind of far away, near like icon Siam, because she worked near there. She would just come see me whenever I wanted, like whether it's 2 or 3 times a week is generally the amount of time we came together, because I don't have time for much more, because it would just take too much of my time when I'm trying to work and stuff to spend time with a girl. So I usually cut it off at like 2 or 3 times a week max, seeing a girl. But anyways, it was great. She would come over, no complaints, order food, watch TV, have sex. Everything was absolutely perfect. Like no complaining, very feminine, very charming. And the way she would look at, like when I would go down to the lobby, when she would arrive and I would go down to the lobby, and her smile, just looking at me and all happy to see me, it just made my day. Like it was amazing feeling to actually have a girl, that supportive and that friendly, as opposed to like some annoying Western girl, masculine, always trying to argue with you. This girl was straight up amazing. And I quite frankly, I miss her a lot. But anyways, yeah, she would just pretty much come over whenever I wanted. And she was young. She was like 24. She turned 25. I took her on some dates, of course, like rooftop bars. I took her out for she had a birthday when we first started dating. Probably about a month later, I took her to a restaurant, Mommy Rose, big dinner. And I had the birthday stuff, then do like the fireworks and the show and bring out her dessert. And she was very happy. And the smile on her face to see that made me as a man like very happy. And it was just very easy. Like the exchange on the relationship, the investment versus what I got in return was way more than I would get in the US, where you spend tons of money on dinner trying to show this girl like a good time, and then she doesn't reciprocate in any way. Like these girls are usually very compliant, feminine, easygoing. It just worked out so great. And yeah, so anyways, I made the mistake taking her for granted. And being on dating apps, didn't have the best communication. Also, there was an earthquake here in Bangkok in April. So my apartment really got screwed up and I had to move out. And I pretty much decided a few days later to go to Phuket and just train Muay Thai and clear my head and stuff like that. And she had a problem with that. And even though I invited her there, it kind of just, after that, our relationship was kind of like very quiet, I guess you can say. I don't know if she thought I was dating other girls or bringing another girl with me, but she got a little bit upset. And we went on another trip together. I took her to Krabi and we went to some islands and stuff for a few days. Yeah, great time with her. Honestly, so many good stories and memories, like riding around the scooter and just seeing her femininity and smile and how she looked at me. And she was absolutely a beautiful, gorgeous, natural girl. No tattoos, no bad attitude, no trauma and stuff like that. Just absolutely every man's dream. So, but yeah, overall, she was very loving, kind, supportive, feminine, and overall, really, we didn't really have that many arguments, and the very few arguments or fights that we did have were very calm, and they didn't really last very long at all. It would be maybe an hour, 2 hours, not more than a day, and then we would just move on. So everything in terms of that was very peaceful and calm, and it brought a lot of peace really overall to my life, which I think any man can agree that he wants. Again, that was my long-term relationship. A few of the shorter ones, let's talk about some little funny situations. So I went on a few dates when I first arrived, and since then, one of the dates I remember I went on a date with this girl. She's like, she had all the fake tits, fake plastic surgery and stuff. She would look good, and she was very nice. And she actually worked for some kind of a plastic surgery clinic. So anyways, the date, we had a simple date, like a brunch date. I took her to, she arranged this place, and I was like, yeah, because I was new, I didn't know. I went to bring her to like a brunch place, and we met there. And anyway, she was kind of quiet. And then I mentioned, I was like, so do you tattoo? I said something like along the lines of, so at the clinic, did they actually tattoo your eyebrows? I noticed she had the tattoo permanent eyebrows. And I was just making a comment, like I'm from the US and I just am pretty blunt on how I talk. And her face like lit up like nobody's ever talked to her like this. And later I found out, you know, they're in Thailand, they're not like blunt about, they won't just say like stuff out of their mouth, whatever comes to the mouth, like, you know, Donald Trump or something like that. He just says whatever. So her face kind of like lit up, and it was just like a funny reaction I got from her. And then I didn't have a second date with her. I found out she was actually, she even admitted, she was like, I'm in a situationship with another guy, like sugar daddy type thing. I was like, okay, I understand. You know, she's like, I really liked you, but she's like, right now it's best for me to have this situationship, this arrangement. I didn't delve into it, but she still follows me and texts me on Instagram and stuff, looks at all my stories and stuff like that. Another one, let's go over a negative one that I had. So I had arranged a date with this really beautiful girl I met on Bumble. And I've up to so far, I've all met these girls on Bumble, then I take them to Instagram funnel, but we'll cover that later. So I met her on Bumble, another girl, and I mentioned going to Topgolf. I knew she like was into fitness. She was a very fit girl. I was like, hey, we can do Topgolf. We can go shoot guns. I'll rent a motorcycle, take us around on a ride, maybe to the river or something like that. And we settled on, she was giving me a hard time. I was like, okay, so you just want like a simple dinner or something? I arranged a dinner at an Italian restaurant. And anyways, basically through text, she was giving me kind of an attitude, and I didn't know what to do with that. Usually I would just say no and end it there, but I was like, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. She's Thai. She's not going to be like an American chick and all this stuff. But basically she had some kind of a trauma, or maybe she hated guys, or her last relationship. But anyways, she showed up to the date like right on time or early. Like she was like, oh, I have to do stuff and I only have like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I was like, I don't know. But anyways, I decided to show up and maybe see if she was actually going to be, you know, friendly and stuff and compliant and not be such a, you know, annoying girl. But anyways, I showed up and she had already sat down and ordered her food. I sat down and I was like 10 minutes late. That's because of the traffic here, and I had to take a tuk-tuk and stuff like that, and the restaurant was hard to get to. And then she wasn't in the downstairs lobby. She actually went up to the restaurant, which was on like the 5th floor, and she actually sat down by herself and didn't wait for me. So I was already kind of like, okay, that's not cool. So I sat down and she just had like a angry look on her. I was like, what's wrong? I was pretty limited. She's like, oh, well, you're late. I'm like, okay, so what? I was like, do you want to do this date? And she was like, well, I already ordered my food. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I can see why you're over 30 and single. And, you know, I don't deal with bad attitudes. I don't know why you would think I would deal with a bad attitude here in Thailand, and when I don't deal with that back where I've come from. So I can see why you're single over 30, and I said some smart comment, and I just basically left. So kind of a bad experience. And she was a hot girl. I don't know what her problem was. She probably just had a bad experience from another guy or foreigner and something like that. But I didn't really want to take the attitude, so got up and left. And also in terms of making dating easier here, I would also say your living setup is gonna go a long way. Like being near the BTS in a good area, like I said, Tonglor, I lived at Park Origin Tonglor. I had no problem having girls come from wherever they lived across town to come see me because everybody knows about that building. It's a very luxurious high rise and really a good area in the whole Tonglor area. A lot of restaurants. Like I said, the office is right across the street, so it was easy just to have a girl come over and be like, hey, yeah, we'll meet at the office for dinner, which was perfect because just the logistics alone, it's kind of near the BTS. People know that that's a good area. They all want to come to that area. So whether you live in like the 𝐕𝐃, Prom Pong area, that's probably going to be the best few areas near the BTS that would be the best setup for girls to actually come and see you and you not have to make plans to go outside of your area and bring them on a date, especially a first date. You know, you don't know if you're going to waste your time with the girl, so it's better to always have the setup and living in a nice place if you can afford it, if it's within your means, of course, which you should as a foreigner be able to make enough money to live in Bangkok and afford a 33,000 Thai baht apartment, which is going to get you a really good location in a solid high-rise luxurious building with the amenities and stuff like that. If you want that, is my advice for that. So just a overall setup is your living setup. They're probably close to the BTS so they can travel to you or in an area where people want to come and see you on a first date. All right, so overall we have covered my relationship, a few other dating experiences. Now let's cover since I've been single and I'm actually doing like cold approach. Let's talk about how that's going to go. So I have been doing cold approach, mainly the best places to meet women if you're not going to be on the dating apps. I would suggest doing the dating apps, and by far the best one is Bumble. Okay, like if you're a good looking guy and you have the proper photos and high status photos and you look good, you're going to get a lot of matches, and the girls you match with, they will message you, and then chances are you're going to have an easy time getting as many dates, and you're going to have a list of girls that you can ask out that actually want to go on a date with you, and getting dates will be pretty easy. Now, you always want to watch out for the red flags. That's why I always ask for Instagram. I see what they're doing in their stories, what kind of photos they post. If they post a lot of bikini photos or stuff by themselves at the beach, then you know that they're the type of girl that's going to have like a sugar daddy or have some kind of a sponsor in some way, because the Thai salary here for working is not very high. So also if they live in an area or a building specifically that is catering to foreigners or expats that costs, 33,000 Thai baht, which is like 1,000 USD. And the Thai salary here, by the way, is like 22,000 baht, so a month. So if you do the math there's no way, if you're working normal Thai company, in most cases, you cannot afford a building that is 33K baht. And you need to really be aware, like, hey, this girl is probably has a sponsor or she's an escort or something like that. But in most cases, these girls are very beautiful and they're going to have cheap places and live a little bit farther outside of the center city, and they will actually come see me, or they will come to you if you're in a good area like Tonglor, Prompong, 𝐸𝐶, those kind of expat areas. They know that they should go there and they will come and meet you. And I had no problem, even on first dates, coming from across town, Lad Prao or Bang Na or something like that, where, more local, it's cheaper apartments and more local, that they come see me. So, all right, so let's go into a few of like the dating dynamics, nuances. Now, I always abide by the rule, in terms of women, like less is more. The less you communicate via text and when you're not in person, that will keep her mind always thinking what you're going to do. You're higher value, you're busy, you have other options, and keep her more interested. That's true to some extent. Now, I have had some girls. Now, I don't double text a girl, or God forbid, triple text a girl ever. Okay. So I just don't do that. I believe that's a rule every man, if you are seeing a girl or whatever your status with her is, unless it's your long-term girlfriend, never double text or God forbid triple text her ever. So now these girls want more energy sometimes, or more small talk on text, which I kind of don't even like doing, and I prefer to keep that in person. But I have made them, not understood that fully, and I have, done my regular treatment of women, and through text being very short, very to the point, only wanting to meet for arranged meetings. And some of them feel uncomfortable then at a later time. Like a girl mentioned, she was like, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable now because you're just texting me to come over and have sex or something like that." And she's like, "I like the small talk." I was like, "Well, okay." I was like, we just have different cultures, and we have to get back that to, get around that, and we can always talk about that. Is pretty much what I explained. And it was fine from there on. But some of these girls, the dating rules of what red pill coaches teach and what is actually reality might not apply to these little nuances between the cultures. So you need to understand that. Also, when you first meet a girl in Thai, I would say don't give her a hug or even approach her for a hug or a little kiss or anything. I would go say hey and just stand there and see how she reacts. Because like public affection is not like such a good thing here in Thailand. Some of the girls don't like it. Other times it's okay, but I would make sure if you first meet a girl or you greet her, you don't even try to approach with a hug, kiss, nothing. I would just go up to say hi and not even shake hands. I would just say hi and see how she reacts until you're actually both comfortable on the date with each other, and then you can initiate some physical contact. And usually if she's into you, she's probably going to do it very soon and do it first. So you really don't have to worry about that. Every girl that has been attracted to me, they very quickly will start touching you or initiate physical contact in some way and be friendly if they're comfortable with you. So just to let you know about that. Okay, let's talk about where to meet the best possible women in Thailand. Again, Thailand, these girls are absolutely stunning. I mean, you walk around on the BTS, the shopping malls, I've never seen so many beautiful girls. Like some people think Thai girls are not attractive. I completely disagree. They're either out of their mind or they are in the wrong areas. But anywhere you walk around the tourist areas, 𝐷𝐷, Thong Lor, Prom Pong, the BTS, the shopping malls, Siam Paragon, Central, where you're going to see beautiful, stunning women everywhere. Very cute, very feminine. And so I would say cold approaching. I've been cold approaching. If I make a good eye contact with a girl and she smiles and makes eye contact with me, in most cases, I have actually approached her and done very well, either getting her phone number or Instagram, and then getting her to agree to a meeting, whether we have met or not. But it's a pretty high rate of at least getting their Instagram or WhatsApp number, and then going from there. So these places that I have been, again, I live in a 𝐷𝐷 now. I had to move, so I live in a good area, and there's a park called 𝐵𝐃𝐄 Park. There's also several malls around where I live. Terminal 21 has tons of beautiful girls, and there's also the BTS 𝐷𝐷, so there's tons of beautiful women there. And then if you even go to M-Spheres, another mall, which is in Prom Pong, one station away, beautiful women all over there, and you can definitely try to cold approach there as well. I have also been doing events, like meetup events. It's called Bangkok Events. It's on Instagram, and they basically have a organized meeting at some of the local restaurants or bars like Mommy Rose or Flamenco or the Silk Hotel and stuff like that, more classy places. And the girl that organizes it knows tons of hot girls, single women in town, and they all go to these events. So it's relatively easy if you're a single guy to go there and meet an attractive girl and start talking it up and stuff like that. So I've actually been on dates and hooked up with a few girls from those events when I have gone on the weekends, whether it's Friday or Saturday. And that's a great thing that's called Bangkok Events. Other than that, yeah, you can always go to the gyms. I don't really go to the normal box gyms too much, but there's tons of hot girls there, like the Fitness Society in 𝐷𝐿, Thong Lor gyms, stuff like that. Again, the other place to meet girls is the park. You can easily go there in the afternoon or maybe even on the weekends in the morning and see just tons of beautiful, feminine, fit girls and make eye contact and approach them. They're very open to being approached as long as you do it in a not creepy way. So make eye contact, smile, say, hey, how you doing? And stuff like that. That's so yeah, the best places in the areas of town that I have had experience in cold approaching would be Thong Lor, Prom Pong, 𝐷𝐷, and then maybe like the Siam Paragon area, near that whole area where all the shopping malls are. If you go to more local areas, I just don't have too much experience. I've heard Lat Prow has, you know, a lot of women live out there too, but I just don't know. I don't have much data on that. So yeah, those are the places. Also, this place called The Office. It's a cafe, restaurant, and it also has like a coffee shop and juice place, and there's a bunch of people. It's a very Instagrammable place where a bunch of beautiful HISO girls go to take pictures and whatnot. So you can probably go there and try to cold approach women there. Or I've actually just straight up, when I lived across the street at Park Origin Tongue Lore, I would literally bring a date there to have dinner because it's very good food, very nice place, and it's not crazy expensive. So that would be my advice, and something that you might not actually know about if you search for other dating videos about Thailand. So let's talk about things to do and like stuff on a first date, like activities. Again, Bangkok is full of options. You don't have to just go to dinner. I usually try to plan some sort of activity. I've done things such as ice skating. There's 2 ice skating rinks that I've been to that are inexpensive. It's less than like a $20 or $30 date to bring a girl ice skating. Some of them don't want to do that. They think it's dangerous. Others are definitely open to that. And the best thing is you can help the girl out. So you're initiating physical contact by doing some kind of activity like going ice skating, which she probably has not done or done very, very rarely. So that's one thing. There's also a Top Golf. There's actually was a golf simulator in my building. I brought girls in there just to hit around and then go to dinner or some other activity. Top Golf is kind of far away, so I have not done that yet. I've done it with a friend, but not on a date. There's Top Golf if you want to do that. There's also comedy shows. And like I mentioned, that Bangkok events is good if you're single, or if you actually want to have a more, if you have trouble in social situations or starting conversations and you want to be more in a social setting where you can talk to other guys and other females and be more in a group as a first date, which is a great idea, is the Bangkok events where they actually, you just pay like 300 or 400 baht, you get an entry to the bar, the place where they have, and a free drink. So that's another option. Again, you're at that point, you're still less than 1,000 baht for a date with a couple drinks included at a nice venue as well. So those are some of the things you can also do, like shooting guns. They have gun ranges here around Bangkok. I have not done that. I've also rented a motorcycle and just brought a girl around, and I did a photo shoot one time, and that was a really good time. I hired a photographer for stuff that I wanted to do anyways, and I actually brought a date. I was like, hey, I rented a motorcycle. Let's go take some pictures. You can be a model for me or something. That was with the girl I mentioned prior. And yeah, she had a good time. Hasn't done it before, and it's more of an adventurous. And then there's also like dinner cruises. If you want to go to the river, there's dinner cruises that are like probably around 1,500 baht per person. So about 35, 40 bucks per person. So you're going to spend $100. Maybe I would do that more on like a second or third date if you've already made the connection. I don't know about a first date if you want to swing that, if you have that much confidence, or if you just want to, drop the money like that, which is fine. Also, there's rooftop bars. Again, if you go to a rooftop bar, it's probably going to be $50, $200 for if you just have a couple drinks with the view and all the fanciness. If a girl recommends going to a rooftop bar on the first date, like that's out of her mouth, I would suggest that girl is probably meant for the streets, or she has a sugar daddy, or she's looking for a sugar daddy, and she's that kind of a girl. But yeah, overall, there's everything for anybody in Bangkok. So dating is there's numerous options for you there in terms of that. Again, guys, that's my experience of dating after 6 months. I think I pretty much covered everything. My long-term relationship, a few other side dates, both good and bad, of girls that have been corrupted by Western society or maybe just had trauma built up, and the dating apps. I think it's just pretty much going to be Bumble. You don't need anything else. I don't even pay for the service, the main one, but if you even want to do where you get more unlimited swipes, you can pay for the 20 bucks a week or something and get unlimited swipes and get more matches if you want. But then I send them again to my Instagram funnel. And I have another video on here about my Instagram setup, and you can check my Instagram. It's Kyle Harper Fitness. Feel free to DM me on Instagram. So guys, if you have any questions or you think I missed anything, drop it in the comments below, or feel free to message me, DM me on Instagram, Kyle Harper Fitness. Also, I have a free Skool community with the link in the description. Feel free to join that. I have a bunch of fitness, diet, lifestyle, travel, mindset, workout stuff on there. So feel free to join that and guys, if you want more videos, just send me video recommendations, whether it's Thailand related, fitness related, travel related, or my experience as an actor and stuntman. So that's going to conclude the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.